You both are nurses, you're accomplished women in your own rights. Gail, you've been the dean at the Bloomberg Faculty of Nursing at the University of Toronto. And Mary, you're a certified coach, nurse, and it was so interesting to read that you're also a Reiki practitioner. To start with, I'd love for you to share a little bit about your background and, how did you both meet? What was the journey to creating Donner Wheeler, your consulting firm?
So Mary and I have known each other for a long time. We were both nurses. We were both very active in our professional association. My career has been primarily, although not solely, in education. I like to think that's my career anyway, that everything I do is about helping nurses develop and be, like we say, the best they can be, whether it's in formal education or other venues. And then Mary has taught at different points. So our paths crossed in many ways and in many places over the years. And then, I don't even want to say how long ago it is, but it's more than 30 years ago that both of us were working for a time at the Registered Nurses Association. And when we were working at the Registered Nurses Association, we would get a lot of nurses would call and say, I don't really know how to plan what I want to do. I'm not sure what I want to do with my career. I'm young. I'm going to be in this for a long time. I want to make sure I'm planning. And so we would talk informally. But in those days, there wasn't much money in professional organizations, and people weren't tuned into it. I think nursing is a women's profession. Its history has been, people come and go, people work as long as they can and then they don't. People get married, people change, whatever. So the notion of planning your career, taking charge of your career, was not really high on anybody's radar. We tried, I think, a couple of times to interest the board of RNAO in doing a career planning program, but the interest wasn't there. Fast forward a couple of years, and I was at the hospital for sick children, and there was the big shortage. We're now into the late 80s, a lot of shortage, a lot of concern. The provincial government, Ministry of Health, had issued a call for proposals for people who had good ideas that would help retain nurses. Mm. And so Mary and I, we would meet periodically. We were friends, colleagues, chat, have lunch, whatever. And we were meeting once and started talking about this and said, that idea we had about career planning, if we thought about career planning the way people think about EAP, this is something that if employers helped their employees with planning their career, employees would see, I don't need to leave this organization to get what I want. I could probably get it right here. So maybe it would be a retention strategy. So we decided we'll put a proposal in. We put a proposal in. The proposal was rejected. But probably a feature of us is we aren't easily thwarted. Mm-hmm. When we have an objective. So we started asking colleagues, what did we say? Why didn't this? And the bottom line was we submitted again. The proposal was accepted.
So Gail was at Sick Kids, and so we were doing a piece of research. Gail took on the role of principal investigator. Janice Waddell, who's at Ryerson, but at that time was at Sick Kids. We met for the first time, introduced by Gail, saying, how can we design a program? And it was really Janice and I looking at the design, and it was Jean Trimnell, again, another senior nurse leader, who took on the role of doing the evaluation. Again, as Gail said, there was very little in the nursing literature about career development. And so we looked at some work by Beverly Kay and really formed the foundation of our work, a non-nurse, but really looked at careers and how it all is. Her book is not that up is not the only way. There's other ways to enrich your career. So we designed an intervention and we tested it at Sick Kids. We did a workshop on career planning and development. And we, even 30 years ago, we provided individual coaching, career coaching, with that whole idea of people need support. You can learn something, but that potential, and you as a coach would know that, is that to be able to help people as they realize their goals. I already had a business. So around that time there was a lot of mergers of hospitals. So I was working, I had a different business, a different name. And I was helping organizations merge their teams together in the mergers. How do we build community? And it's interesting because Gail and I, we did an article about 10 years ago for the Journal of Nursing Leadership, and we were looking at it again. I can't believe it was 10 years ago. It reminded us of how we began was with other people contacting us and saying, what you're doing at Sick Kids, we need here in our organization. And we said, we're doing research like this. I'm doing something, Gail's already.
You don't have a business.
Yeah. I think how we have always worked together is just a light bulb went off and thought, I think there's an opportunity, and literally ran out to, at that time, Grandin Toy. I don't even think Grandin Toy is around anymore. And we got business cards, the first iteration, and I've saved all the business cards over 30 years.
Me too. Oh, me too.
Yeah, I think it was Donner and Wheeler and Associates. I mean, that's what everybody coined at that time. That's really how it began. It began with, we have an idea, we see what's so important, but other people also heard the value from conversations of people that had an opportunity at Sick Kids. And last week I was out hiking with someone from Sick Kids who attended our workshop 30 years ago and still says it made a difference in my life.
Opportunities are there all the time. We have to be open to seeing them. And that's what it was. I mean, we had no intention of going into business. I had a pretty busy career. I was teaching at U of T, and I was a director of education at Sick Kids. Mary had a business. She was very busy. Yeah. But, it was so compelling. This was something we knew was a need. First of all, we know nurses have so much to contribute, and they want to stay in the profession, and they want to stay in meaningful work. And so we just said, okay, let's do it. And that was, is it 30 years?
It'll be 30 years next year. Yeah.
So 29 years. Yeah. We've been partners in this business, and we started with a very kind of contained, I'll say, career planning and development. Over the years, we've developed and redeveloped and enhanced our model, our career planning model. And most of the work we've done since the beginning has been based on a kind of model of how careers develop and where people fit and that kind of thing. And we've done in South Africa, we've been in Europe, we've been across the country, we've been in the US, we've collaborated with Canadian Nurses Association, we've collaborated with Sigma Theta Tau, with the International Council of Nurses, and it's been wonderful. And the partnership, I would say, the business has been terrific. We've met lots of nurses. The best thing about it has probably been the partnership. I'll say there's never been a glitch of any consequence. There's never been an issue that we've not been able to talk through, resolve. And we're quite different in our personalities and in our lives. We have a common set of, I think I'd say, values about what's important. And I think that's I don't know, Mary, that's what I think. I think that's what sustained us as partners and sustain the business.
Yeah. The other piece I was going to say is we have 3 associates who have been with us right from the beginning. Now, again, everybody does their own work. So Janice Waddell is at Ryerson. Michelle Cooper has her own business. Chris Kebbell is at University Health Network. But we all come together with a similar set of values, with a common purpose, and really wanting to make a difference in the lives of health professionals.
I was going to say the other thing we did, and that was, and Janice took a lot of the lead for that, because of course she was an academic at Ryerson and ultimately became the associate dean there. But we branched out to students and started again with nursing students, and then other kinds of health professional students were interested. And that student work is still going on. And as a matter of fact, and Mary's involved now with Janice is doing a whole mentor thing with retired academics.
Faculty.
So it sounds like it started like an organic project. Yeah. What was the initial research project at Sick Kids that you mentioned?
So the research was focused on if an employer provides career planning assistance to their employees, will it improve retention? Will those employees stay at that workplace and make meaningful careers there? And, it was not a big randomized controlled trial or whatever, but we did do a pre and post evaluation. It's interesting because over the years, some of the metrics have gotten a lot more sophisticated than they were 30 some years ago. But we did demonstrate that people did think more about, well, I don't need to leave. There's enough opportunity. We just did it at Sick Kids. People did say, there's no reason for me to leave Sick Kids if I'm not fulfilled where I am. There was like, this is a huge place, there's huge opportunity. So the whole idea, and a lot of our work, I would say the bulk of our work has been with organizations. And that's not been happenstance. That's been because we really want the culture of organizations to do more than, in other words, when you have professional development, let's say in a big hospital or a big organization of any kind, it's usually you're teaching your employees things you need. So it's risk, or it's quality assurance, or it's PPE, or whatever it is. But what if you also thought about, I'm going to do something that's going to help that they need, that they want for their careers? Won't that have an effect on making those people feel more positive about their work environment? And there's a lot written about nurses and the work environment and all those things that make nurses stay.
Right.
So this was about, if you invest in nurses, then they will be more interested in staying with you.